Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Andy, as always, joined by my brother Dale. How we doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Andy? Good morning. Happy Sunday. And this is the Sunday right before Christmas. So I just want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. I got Tiki here with me, too. She's a guest starring as well.
Happy Christmas to you and your lot as well, mate. And happy Christmas to all you watching as well. Thanks for supporting us throughout the year this year. It's been awesome building this little podcast that we've got going.
We enjoy it, man. You know, even look, numbers don't dictate how much fun you and I have discussing this stuff. So we just want people to enjoy it as well. And speaking of, you know, I asked you, I said, we're going to stay in December because we're liking this format. It's cool as hell. And you said, yeah, sure. I'm like, all right, give us a year. You said 2008. I said, I don't remember that. I'm like, huh. I'm like, that's the first, the first event I went to for a long time was actually during 2008. It was Royal Rumble. And I'm like, I don't remember anything else for the year. And Andy, you were kind of right as far as like, you know, we should dabble into it, but like kind of not get hooked on it. It was kind of like heroin. So let me ask you something. What did you like from here?
Well, obviously December 2008 wasn't the best of years. I actually didn't mind the Santa's little helper tag match was quite cool. It made, and do you know why it was cool? I'm going to stop there because it makes me sound like a perv, right? It made me happy because looking at that and looking where women's wrestling is now, it kind of made me smile. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It made me smile for so many different reasons, not sexually either.
Yeah.
Although they all look good. But
yeah.
We will get into why when we get to that match. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's start at the first match anyway. And I thought I'd gone to 20. I had to double check to make sure that I wasn't watching modern day wrestling for a minute there because it was John Morrison and The Miz versus Jesse and Fetus was the first match on the card. And in 2021, we had John Morrison and The Miz with zombies at some point and whatever else we had.
Yeah, and practically Festus was a zombie. Look, Festus. Okay, Festus obviously never really it caught on, but you can't really evolve from that. So he will evolve from that later on in his future, in a pretty successful way, I'd say. Luke Gallows, but they were a pretty over tag team, and Jesse didn't really do much after that, did he?
No,
he tried to put it. He would try to be with Crime Time, I think, at that point.
So they tried a few things with him, but I think he was, when you get a character like that, you're writing on the wall, isn't it? I mean, it always makes me laugh when, I know we talked about it on a previous episode where the Undertaker goes, I'm going to be the bird, the Eggman. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very important when you first come in to somewhere, obviously take away Kane because his first gimmick was awful, but obviously he was lucky that he got another shot with the and I think the mask obviously helped him. I think if he wouldn't have had the mask, he probably wouldn't have been as successful as what he was as Kane because of the Yankum character. But I think Jesse, once he got this character one time, I think that's it. Then I think it screwed him. He was always going to be Jesse.
Yeah, I think if you were to compare it, I would actually say it's a less driven character for Mosh. If you were to compare both of them, because like Mosh could work. Actually, the Headbangers could work. Headbangers are a very underrated tag team.
Yeah,
as far as working goes, and they kind of, Jesse kind of reminds me of Mosh, where it's just like, hey, let's do another beaver cleavage. Although he probably would have preferred that because at least he would have gotten some.
And one thing I'll say is Miz and Morrison here were great. They really was great at this time. Around 2008, they were really, really good. Just a shame that we didn't see the best out of them when they were together. I mean, don't get me. Do you know what? I'm going to retract that because they were quite good with the whole Bad Buddy thing, and they done what they done there, and they were well. But 2018, they were in the prime, was they not?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. Like they came together, just two forces that were actually on ECW, and they actually had a good feud with CM Punk. One of the high points of that ECW resurrection. But I do like the fact that we would see, Miz and Morrison just interact so well. And obviously here we are 13 years later talking about it because they were relevant for a little bit this year. So, and let's face it, if this is the first pay-per-view we're actually doing like in the like late 2000s, so this is closely tied to the modern era because we still see these people, and we're going to see a match in a little bit that you just go, wow. But Miz and Morrison, you know what, good for the Miz. And I'll say this, man, the Miz is a guy that worked his butt off and didn't really get that respect until he called out Daniel Bryan for what he was.
That's it, mate.
Now, he earned his stripes, and he earned his hot wife, and he earned his TV show, which isn't bad. It's not bad. Better than Rose at the Top.
Right. And the second match we had, Vladimir Kozlov defeating ECW World Champion Matt Hardy in a singles match.
He took things to the extreme, didn't he? I'm looking at what they could have compared Kozlov to, and I said, well, pay-per-view match, Kozlov against a Hardy. I remember Brock Lesnar's first pay-per-view match was against Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
And guess what didn't happen? Look, I'll say this. Kozlov is not really the most, I'm not going to say technically sound, because as you were an MMA type of person, right?
Yeah.
You could tell he was just green with faking or trying to do faux acts of violence for people, because this guy can maul. And he's got he's also got a career as far as stuntman. I think he does stuntman work to this day, and he's in better shape than everybody else today.
And you know where he is in wrestling nowadays, don't you?
No.
He is the Russian announce team for Impact Wrestling.
Good for him. Yeah. Good for him.
He is actually still involved in wrestling, but he could have been so much more, couldn't he? Realistically.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what went wrong besides Santino Moretta.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think the whole dynamic had changed, hadn't it? Then, I mean, if I'm Vince, I'm probably thinking in my head, oh my God, he's the Millennium's version of Boris. What's his name? Not Boris.
Barzukov.
Yeah. Couldn't think that. Still, like, there's a lot of similarities there. Or Nikolai Volkov as well.
You always have to have a foreign heel.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of a joke on themselves too when they actually made the League of Nations from a couple of years ago. Yeah. That would manifest from just all these like, hey, we just hate America.
I think the problem that you've got as well, though, in this time, specifically 2008, you haven't got the red, white, and stripes Hogan. You've got no Hacksaw Jim Duggan or anyone like that. Who have you got here that's like the American hero? Because I'm not buying the fact that John Cena was.
No, but they pushed him for that.
They pushed him for it, but
you'll see on this card, though, that this is where really the hate for Cena started to kick in. I think in 08, I remember he came back from the Rumble and I was not happy. He won and I was not happy, and I was just like, I was there and I was like, I want a fucking refund.
Yeah, you just want to see something different.
I'm still waiting for them to write me back too. But there was nothing that sat there and said, this guy is America. Nothing, even to this day. I granted the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I guess you could say, he's the hero for them.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you can't knock him for what stuff he's done there, you know what I mean? Bravo to the lad. But I think sometimes, I always say it was never Cena's fault. It was always WWE's fault because they tried to ram them down people's throats so much. I feel like back when the formula worked with Hogan was fine, but I feel like once Cena come along, it was a different world then. And people would not put up with it.
They're a marketing genius. And I'm trying to figure out how they actually tried to market it to where he's not the Stars and Stripes. We don't want to do the say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
That's the whole, but they flipped it. Don't forget, because they've done exactly the same formula, but they flipped it with the never give up. Salute the Marine, all that kind of palaver. That's how they went down with it. They did, the basis of the whole thing didn't change. It was just the way that they presented it changed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I remember a lot of different things, obviously. I'm surprised we have gotten laid about wrestling. But
we have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so no one can say we're even lying.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on Maury. We could go on Maury, but and talk about that. But still, anyway, but like the fact that we remember a lot of different gimmicks, and a lot of bad and a lot of good. That was just really bland. Never give up. There was nothing about it. And more people were.
I think the problem you've got is, sorry, just to butt in there, but
no,
a lot of these kids ate all that up, right? Now, the problem with wrestling back then is when we were all young kids, we were the first generation of the Hulk Hogan and all like this. There was no adults really. They were do you know what I mean? The adults back then in the golden era were with the kids. Then we went into that's why the likes of Hulk Hogan wouldn't have worked in the Attitude Era, because us kids that had watched, had said our prayers, these our vitamins, all that, had grown up then to, obviously the raunchy Attitude Era. You know what I mean? And then from there, we went into the Ruthless Aggression era and whatnot. So I feel like with our kinds of age range and our kinds of people who were there for WrestleMania 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of thing is, we had all that Hogan stuff up because we were young kids and stuff. And then we grew up. I think the problem that you have with Cena is the likes of me and yourself, and there's a lot of people like us out there, the guys listening, everybody, that we all love wrestling because we loved it when we were a child. So we still go to the events and that. And the people like us will just go, they're just recycling Cena again, where you've still got them kids there, but then you've got us there. So it throws two different dynamics that potentially weren't there when they had the Hogan and the eat your vitamins, say your prayers type Hogan. There was no second dynamic because we were all still them kids.
Yeah. And to top that off, though, the way they portrayed him was this is who he is now. I remember this guy coming to the ring with a microphone, talking trash, even with some lines of, "I'm like a sore penis. You can't beat me." How do you flip that around and then become this? Do good, do your homework.
But how would you turn around and turn Bobby Lashley from, in this stupid storyline with Laura and stuff, to next minute he's in the hair business winning world titles? People have got a short memory.
Yeah. Well, and also they got rid of Lana for that reason.
You'll see this yourself, mate, as your kids grow up a little bit. As Logan Cole, baby, as he grows up, what you'll find with him is, like my lad, for instance, when he gets to around about the age of the big demographic in WWE, 6 to 10 years old, and he'll turn around and say, MJF, for instance, let's use him as an example because it's a good example. "Oh, we hate MJF. Yeah, we hate MJF, Dad." And then he comes back in, "Oh, I'm starting to love MJF. Yeah, I love him too, Dad." That's what kids are like. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, so WWE, the way they book and stuff like that, is they book on that basis of the same thing, where it's like, because we tell you like him, you will like him, or because we tell you he's... So like Bobby Lashley went from them stupid storylines to now he's in the hair business and he's this big bad guy, and it's like, them young kids who are very easily influenced are just going to go, "Okay, yeah, Bobby Lashley's a bad man now." Do you know what I mean? They don't question.
Yeah, but you also got to realize on the flip side of that, so Raw is a 3-hour show. What happens in that third hour? Your content gets kicked up a little bit. And your demographic does change at that point too. And, bedtime start to kick in around like 10 o'clock. I don't know how it is, so obviously, kids want to stay up and watch the whole thing. You said, all right, we'll DVR it, but during that time frame there, look, you have a different mindset, from 10 to 11, remember silk stockings came on after Raw back in the day. So,
well, anyway, let's move on to the next match. So we had CM Punk versus Ray Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championships #1 contenders match, which was a crazy, awesome match, really good match. Now, just to let you know, CM Punk on his way to the finals beat Snitsky and John Morrison, and Ray Mysterio beat Kofi Kingston and The Miz. So
good
that
trade.
was yeah.
It's
and then
the
ones, Kane and Finley were the other two that were in this tournament. So 2008 at its best. It's bad to see CM Punk in the Intercontinental title picture at this point.
Yeah, but look at the way that these guys were presented. You had William Regal outside in his fantastic, amazing, actually, I think underappreciated role of I'm a King.
Mm-hmm.
Here is Layla, who looked like a great ballet too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sit on the side and I'm gonna watch this in my throne, the way a king should. You are entertaining me.
Yeah.
Nobody really, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I forgot this match even took place. So when they both came on, I said, ears perked up. And I said, oh, wow. And I'm watching this and I go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Forgot what a pleasant this was.
Yeah. I mean, Punk was at his best in this time. And Ray was really, really up there, wasn't he, at this time?
I sat there and I said, Ray has been on TV at this point and in 08 for probably 15 years.
It's crazy, isn't it, to think that?
Ray Mysterio, man, he's an enigma. He is one of the modern marvels of wrestling. Just the way he works and bumps his ass off and made Punk look good. And Punk made him look great too. The ending would have...
It's a bit sad the way he's starting to slow down nowadays, isn't it? You can actually start to see that he's starting to miss a beat now.
I mean, that's fine. I'm okay with that,
Yeah, 100%.
Because if they're right, I'm not saying we're not, but like, it's just like, I hope this leads into something where Dominic will then turn, and we're waiting on that. Current wrestling fans, we're waiting on that. Because it could be, like we said, you know what? If he says, if Dominic Mysterio says, Ray, you might be my dad, but I miss my poppy. That's how you book it, folks.
I know. Do you know one thing that I've noticed with Dom, just very quickly, and I feel a bit, not offended, but I just feel like it's a bit out of order, is I've seen a lot of these, like, what's his name's? Breakout Star of the Year, Top Performer of the Year, all this kind of stuff that's coming out now, for the end of year awards and whatnot. And one thing that I don't really like is, it's got like a lot of different people in, but Dominic Mysterio's not getting a mention in there. And I feel like that's a bit out of order, to be honest with you. I feel like he deserves to be in there.
Yeah. I mean, they've had storylines built on him and he looks great, and I think that was sweet. That's a touching moment right there, folks. This just made this podcast from, hardcore into Hallmark right there. That was amazing. But I think
boy brought me a cup of tea.
The man. So anyway, I just think that like Dominic Mysterio, it just looks great. He just needs to be guided. Would you call him a puppy with big paws at this point?
Yeah, but the thing is, as well, is he's had some good matches this year. And, he's been quite solid. And, if you look at, like, people are saying Bron Breakker. Why Bron Breakker? Bron Breakker's been getting babies in NXT in the Performance Center every day and that. Well, Dominic Mysterio's out on the road doing it properly.
Yeah.
So why is Dominic not included in that? And that's one thing that just kind of makes me scratch my head.
Well, they can't. To me, I disagree with the Bron Breakker thing because he really has won a few matches. He looks great, but he hasn't done anything to come out of there. Just because you pile some wins doesn't mean that you just automatically breakout star. Look, they didn't call. Did they call Chris Candido when he was Skip a breakout star when he first started here?
No.
So stop. Like I think people are just misplacing what it is. I think people are just now. No. We've talked about it. It's a generation where you need results now, and people want those results.
But if you look at, let's get the brass tacks on it. He's won the tag team championship. He's had some really solid matches. He's been involved a lot, especially he was in a match with Edge. You know what I mean? He's been up there with them and that. I don't really know what else you'd need from a breakout year.
Yeah,
and let's face it, he earned his stripes and done his training in the Thunderdome era, so it's not like he, and then as soon as the crowds come back, he's just carried on right the way through, and he's done a really good job of it.
Has not skipped a beat. That's why I think he definitely should be looked at as that. Plus, you have probably the best homegrown storyline if they perfect it. So they need to really focus on him. They have him. And if somehow he goes somewhere else, he can't use the Mysterio name, I don't think.
He can, yeah.
I don't think he can.
Yeah, he can. Ray Mysterio owns the Mysterio name, not WWE.
What about Junior?
Sorry, Ray Mysterio Jr. He owns the two of them. He always has done.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's why when Ray Mysterio's been wherever he's been, he's always been Ray Mysterio, because he owns the name, not them. Same with British Bulldog, wasn't it? Davey Boy Smith owned the rights to that, not.
Yeah. That's why he had that stellar WCW run.
Yeah, which is why we're seeing Harry Smith using the British Bulldog Jr. moniker, because the family owns it, obviously, after Davey Boy passed away.
I don't understand why he was ever let go.
Drugs, wasn't it? Well, apparently him and Ultimate Warrior at one point got caught smoking crack in the back or something.
I was talking about his son, but okay.
All right. And Harry, I don't even know, because he never even made an appearance, did he? Well, one off match. Yeah.
Yeah, with
but anyway,
Austin Theory.
Yeah, that's it. Let's get back to this.
Good match, though.
Then. Yeah, really
Punk,
good match.
I thought Punk broke his nose at the end. I think he did with the GTS, and Punk picked him up after a match you saw because, oh shit, my bad, dude.
Yeah, Punk was good. At this point, I think that's probably the best CM Punk round 2008 to 2010, isn't it?
Without a doubt. That's why we're talking about him today.
Yeah, and that's why he's not really doing much now. But well. Finley versus Mark Henry was our next match in a Belfast brawl. Oh, these type of matches just annoy the heck out of me. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. Finley's from Belfast, but what's the necessity of Mark Henry to be involved in a Belfast brawl?
I don't know. I enjoyed Tony Atlas dressed as Republican Right to Censor Act.
Yeah. At the Brody Lee. At the Brody Lee.
I don't get it. I remember True Life, MTV True Life had an episode of I'm a Pro Wrestler. So they followed China, they followed Triple H, they followed some indie guys, and they followed Tony Atlas. Yeah. And Tony Atlas was on the indie circuit at the time. I remember he was cooking eggs. He goes, I have a match on Tuesday. I get paid. I'm broke on Wednesday. And he's scrambling eggs and does this. And then he makes this face. And I was just like, oh, Tony. I'm glad they got him a job. He was a big dude, man. He was in great shape too.
He was really a good shape. And I think this match here is all about the shillelagh, isn't it? That's why they made it a Belfast brawl. So obviously Finley can lose the shillelagh on somebody. But I thought it was a good move putting Mark Henry with Tony Atlas. I really did.
Yeah. Well, this is going into the Hall of Pain.
Yeah,
type of. It's not there yet, but that's when they actually had Mark Henry become a monster, which would be the monster that won the title off of Randy Orton. Good for them, man. Good for them. And, shit match, bit of a throwaway one, but is what it is. And then next we had Batista defeated Randy Orton. Randy Orton was with Cody Rhodes and Manu. These two were pretty good here. I think Batista still looked green in this match, though. You're 4 or 5 years into your career here, actually more. I don't know. I just think that this was a different Batista because this is post run with his titles. Like he's, he's on this like feud where actually great video package for this.
Yeah.
This was impressive. This is what I think everybody should look into as far as how to build the storyline and let you know where you're at. It's editing, it's production. This is what WWE has today and will be superior in. And just the background of, we were in Evolution together. We both went our separate ways. But what's Dave done? There's Randy talking. And Randy's Randy's just a treasure. I don't think we really done any pay-per-views talking about Randy Orton. And here we are right now. Bro, wasn't he just like incredible?
Still is to this day. And the thing is, you look at him and you talk about, and it's quite depth, evolution is probably the best word for him because he evolves with the business and he always has done. He's the Legend Killer, the Viper, RK Bro, Rated RKO. There's so many different, he adapts to the business without changing too much, Randy. And that's what always makes him awesome.
And that first year he had, was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, the run, the rookie year, and then going and winning the title. I think the title winning was probably the most unnecessary thing they could do against Benoit, because that was just really quick. You know, they served that up really quickly for Randy winning, and then, you know, Triple H doing what he did. Great storyline. But the problem was, and they think they figured it out too, the problem was that he's a better heel.
Yeah.
You know, and they made him into a baby face, and that just didn't make any sense.
No, because Randy Orton is a person. I mean, I don't know, I can't comment on him personally nowadays, but you always hear these stories about how much of a dick he was back in the day, and it's like he was just made to be a heel, really, wasn't
he? Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what you looked at with his grandpa and his father and stuff. You know, look, I watched that Ruthless Aggression documentary, and that was interesting. Yeah, because they showed Mark Jindrak, and you know, Jindrak, you know, I couldn't believe they got him for an interview. But that guy ate some humble pie. And let's not forget, that guy was talented.
Yeah. And Mark, he was a second generation superstar as well.
Yep. And so Jindrak and O'Hare were such an over tag team, and probably one of the better parts of WCW when they were folding up. So when they got him, they said, you know what, they got some good talent. The problem is that, you know, he was just a clown. He was an ass clown. Yeah. Now, and him and Randy just fed off that. But this was just a good story that they told. And who was the head shrinker's son that's in there? Not Afa, not Sika. What the hell is the guy's name that was in there? Manu, right?
Manu, yeah. That's it, Manu.
Just interesting because he just does not fit in.
No. He just got a shot from his family name, didn't he, more than anything else?
Yeah, but so did Deuce and Domino.
Yeah, he did, yeah. I did like Deuce and Domino, though, to be fair.
With Cherry, on the, you know where they were from, right? The other sides of the track. But yeah, not a bad match.
Not a bad match. As I say, I don't know whether it's Batista's losing interest at this point or whatever, but he just didn't look kind of. There's a few spots where I was like, ooh, do you know what I mean? He kind of looked a bit reckless. Probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I think they knew. I think obviously Randy's Randy. Randy's always going to be talented and amazing. I think he knew, like, maybe like, hey, you know what? This is one of my last songs here. So, and credit to Dave though, man. He came back a few years ago, won the Royal Rumble, and said, "You guys remember something? This was my first love. Me coming back to this business. This is my business. This is what I love to do." And what a person. I mean, we talked about it before. Drax the Destroyer. You know, he's making more money. Do you think he's making more money now? Probably, right?
Probably, yeah. Probably. You know? Wouldn't surprise me.
He doesn't do movies with The Rock, right? Like there's something going on. They don't do movies together for some reason. Like there's like a beef. I don't know.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? One thing that I say is interesting as well is just The Rock. I know it's totally off topic, but I think it's a good thing. Did you see the pictures of The Rock the other day?
Yeah.
Sitting off having a meal with his childhood friend, Tony Khan.
No, not Tony Khan, Nick Khan.
Nick Khan, sorry, yeah. I do apologize, yeah. Nick Khan sitting down having a meal. Oof.
Look, we're in this business, we're in the finance business.
One thing I'm going to ask you, right, is The Rock's worth a lot of money, yeah? And everyone goes on about NBC buying WWE or Disney or whatever. Could The Rock buy WWE himself?
If he wanted to liquidate whatever assets that he had and bought stock of WWE, why not?
But would he need to liquidate everything to do it? Because he's just got so much money that.
No, he wouldn't. I mean, I don't know his balance sheet. Yeah. We've seen it before. It's tremendous. But why couldn't he buy so many shares?
I mean, to be fair, what's to say he hasn't already got shares? Or
exactly
when he comes back for Hollywood, for WrestleMania Hollywood, which we know is going to happen, then he could that could be part of his paycheck.
You keep knocking on that Hollywood thing. You keep knocking on that Hollywood door, brother.
It's gonna happen, mate. It's gonna happen. I always said it would happen either Dallas or Hollywood. I always believed Hollywood, which is why I booked that specific event, because I hung my hat on the fact that he was going to be there. Yeah. but looking at the way that it's gone now, I always thought Dallas might be an option, but I always believed it'd be Hollywood, and I always said it'll be one or the other. No, he's not done. And I think it'll happen next year.
It should, especially with what they're doing right now. So, and we're trying not to tie in, folks. We're trying not to tie in too much as far as what's going on now. But this is kind of current stuff. We're talking about people that are actually relevant with the pay-per-view that we're watching. So that is why we're doing this.
Yeah. And also, we like to go on bits of tangent. So, I'm sure if we were sitting here talking with every one of you, we'd probably do exactly the same. Conversations don't always get as structured as that.
Exactly. But you know what? To be honest with you, I think that The Rock is the biggest draw that this company's had, and
100%.
He could own this. Yeah. I think he should own it.
Yeah. Right, McCool, Maria, Kelly, or Mrs. Undertaker, Maria, Kelly versus Mickey James. And Mickey James versus Maurice, Jillian Hall, Victoria, and Natalia. Natalia, the WWE Klingon, as we call it. As I say, I was made up with how much the match, how much it's come on now in wrestling to be what it was. But I didn't have made me smile. Old Jillian Hall, I love Jillian Hall.
She had we forgot to mention the one spot, the vignette in between matches here that we'll bring out in a second. But Jillian Hall had a nice growth on her face and ended up getting it chewed off by the boogeyman. So.
Brilliant.
The Jillian Hall singer. She made it a Royal Rumble appearance, right?
She did,
early this year. I was like, no way. That was great.
Yeah. Do you know what, though? Tip a hat off to her because, all these other girls were just there to be look good and whatever else, do you know what I mean? Which is I'm not saying that's my opinion, but that was WWE's at the time. At least she tried to do something and put a bit of substance behind something.
Cornette even said it. He said, I had Linda Miles and Linda Miles was terrible. She was awful. She was an athlete that just sucked. She's like, I had Linda Miles and Jillian Hall. And he's like, I love Jillian Hall, sweetest could be. Not the greatest, but you could tell she could have personality. He's like, I put them in a ring together for OVW. I said, it was the worst thing in the world. Jillian could not do anything right because of how Linda Miles was. He's like, I got back there and Linda Miles blamed everybody else in the match and blamed her. He's like, it was so unprofessional. I don't understand why. He's like, that's why we needed a manager for the Bashams, which, by the way, if people don't realize, Danny Basham was probably the number 1 star in that company at the time, OVW. And if you watch footage of the Bashams, because you had Damager and you had Danny Basham, they both were light years above people there. I'm talking about Cena. I'm talking about Batista, Randy Orton too. So that's why, we get on this tangent, but Jillian Hall was down there too, training OVW. So a lot of times you're going to see people that were in that farm system that was opened in 99, 2000, something like that, I think. Yeah. And these people are now the successful ones. That's why we talk about Michelle McCool, Kelly. She wasn't even in developmental, but she developed a lot of things for young boys.
Yes, she did. Anyway, that's enough on that match. As I say,
no, it's not. No, it is not.
Come on.
Let me tell you something. I took notes. This was one of the funniest things I've seen. I took notes on this match. All right? Bear with me.
Go on.
Armageddon 2008, I wrote. So somebody, I forgot the announcer, but somebody made mention of Maria has John Nord boots. Okay? The announcers were not into this match and sang Brick House. McCool did a Styles Clash. That was fun. Mickey James was in the best shape of her life. Women are an afterthought.
Do you know what makes me... Oh, go on, sorry.
It's okay. Khali wanted to kiss 3 girls. Yeah, he came in. Mae Young looked better than Natty Nadhart. When Mae Young came... When Mae Young came to the ring, Jerry Lawler was cracking up and crying because Lawler said he told Mae her stockings were wrinkled. She said she wasn't wearing any. And this is another quote from Jerry. Apparently she helped Santa when the Dead Sea was only sick. She has a cane and it's not candy. And after Khali kissed her, Lola said he gave her denture burns. The announce team could not talk because they were laughing so much. I think Cole was crying. It was probably, if I'm not even kidding you, for a joke match, this was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I had to rewind the Dead Sea comment.
Brilliant.
We got 2 matches left.
Do you know what's kind of crazy in this time as well? Is like, talk about that ruthless aggression era. Did you watch the women's one with Finley?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Well, I won't ruin it for you, but all I say is it's kind of like, it's a shame that they done so well, and then we've gone back to Santa's Little Helper match, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Next on the cards, we had a certain Mr. John Cena. Well, 2 absolute legends here. I don't care what anyone, no matter what you think about Cena, he's a legend of the game, and Cena versus Chris Jericho is like an awesome, it's just a dream match, really, isn't it?
That's why Cena, when he came back over the summer this year, it's one of the first times you actually had a return come on to Good Morning America and morning shows the next day, because that's how much of a big deal he is. He's crossover and transcended into what he is.
Yeah.
So, but watching him against Chris Jericho, great vignette again. Jericho was a heel bastard. Jericho, that was the short pompadour post 1999 John Bon Jovi haircut.
Yeah.
Came in and just commanded a ring. We said it from the 10-year prior match when we went to Armageddon 99. Perfect ring placement everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Knows where the crowd is. Yep.
Just knows everything, mate. Honest to God, I rate Jericho so high. I'm looking forward to seeing him going in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah, I don't think he has that much anxiety or angst that he's given the WWE.
Well, apparently he still speaks to Vince quite often, Jericho, which just speaks volumes about the guy himself.
Vince is a businessman, and he's always told people, if you know you're going to make money elsewhere, more money elsewhere, I am not going to stop you.
Yeah. But the fact that he keeps in touch with Jericho shows you that what Jericho is to the company, or what was to the company. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And look, he created great hands as far as a good gimmick for KO a few years ago. Everybody remembers the list. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember much from KO now. Not saying he's terrible. No, I will not. You will not hear me say that. And I loved his match at Royal Rumble with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but he hasn't been utilized properly, has he, recently?
No, but you know what? Good for him for re-signing.
Yeah.
Good for him for re-signing. I'm happy. This is what a great move for WWE, man.
Yeah, I still reckon he's going to win the championship.
Who?
They won. Kevin Owens.
If they do a screwy finish, and then that way you introduce Brock Lesnar and Reigns at WWE, you could do that. But then who's next up? Who's going to face Kevin Owens at WrestleMania? If he lasts that long.
If you're gonna go for the Lesnar versus Lashley match, which is potentially some of the rumors of it, that's going to happen, and then you could have Kevin Owens. There's a few people who maybe have a rematch with Big E, or Drew McIntyre could slot in there or something.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you could have Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, which takes up the SmackDown side of things, and then whoever wins the Royal Rumble goes up against KO.
Yeah, I think
there's options, isn't there? There's options, but in this one, Cena did defeat Chris Jericho by submission. What did you think of Jericho of Cena's submission move when he started using this STF?
Hated it. I hate it. Yeah. I hate it today. I hated it yesterday. I'll hate it going forward. He's not I don't look at him as a technician.
No.
So that's why this is just the dumbest thing in the world.
No, but that's why I like that move, though, because of the fact that he wasn't a technician. I thought it was an easy move to pop on and just, it made him more well-rounded.
STFs should be stuff for technician guys, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Did you like the Rock sharpshooter? I bet you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
You did what?
I did, yeah.
It's it's possibly one of the worst looking moves I've ever seen.
No, Natalia's is worse.
It's because she has a lower base frame. That's why. So it just looks clunky. It kind of looks like an upside down mushroom.
Yeah. She looks like a bowling pin.
Mae Young looked better than her today.
Right, so we move on to our main event. Recently released from WWE now, Jeff Hardy defeated Edge and Triple H. Do you know when you see matches like this, it just makes you think, doesn't it? Like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like, why can't we have these?
Because fuck us.
Yeah.
No, you know what it is, man. This is we talked about a triple threat last week, which was on a lower, I'm not going to say lower scale, but for a lesser title. And we said, this is how you do these better. This is how you do the triple threats. Everybody's in the ring at once. Now it's leave, do your spot, leave, do your spot.
Yeah. With all this conjunction and melted in together, didn't it? And also Jeff Hardy winning the championship was just awesome.
Jeff Hardy had the most incredible paced cardio I've seen in this match. Hitting this guy, hitting that guy. There's not much in the match where he's not involved.
No.
Even when he's speared through a table, running across, by the way. First of all, Edge is fantastic.
Yeah.
Edge will always be fantastic. Triple H looked fantastic. He was the veteran in this. You had the veteran, you had the crook of Edge, and then you had Jeff Hardy, where I don't know if we could hang our hat on him.
Yeah.
We did. There were reports where it's like, I don't know if you want that.
Yeah.
We hear the stories to this day. I don't know if you could trust this guy. Trust him or not.
I think if you Triple H, though, Triple H will always get that. Oh, he's trying to bury the guy. He's trying to bury the guy. And has anyone ever thought about the fact that Triple H is thinking he's had drug issues? Can he carry the company that I care about and all this stuff? Sometimes it's not always got to be cynical from Triple H like everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think like Triple H is just brings out the best in the talent. We talked about how that WrestleMania against Booker T just was terrible.
Yeah.
Because it was a weird booking, and the way the finish was, and just also the storyline coming out about it. But Jeff Hardy did a promo in the beginning of this pay-per-view, and it was like heart-wrenched, because he was just like, they think this about me, they think that about me. It was genuine. And he was actually in his element, because he was more in darkness, and they kind of had it lit up nicely. It reminded me very much of ECW, like old school, like in your face, they're very close up type of deal. But I'm telling you, man, I think that the way he bumped his butt off for this match, and then the ending and the finish was just so well done. Triple H is about to pin Edge, then the swanton from the top that knocked off a Triple H. This was booked great. I thought this was a great match.
It really was. And the one thing that, do you know what made me? I seen Jeff Hardy perform here in Liverpool, November, I think it was, or was it? No, was December maybe? November? Can't remember. Oh, November. It was November. And when I seen him, I remember saying to my mate Sean, who will come with me, we were looking at him and I went, isn't it so sad, because he couldn't even do a twist of fate lying down. It had to, it's like a twist of fate into a stunner now. And, I don't think that's down to anything other than he just can't get down that far anymore, because he did look very, I know obviously he got released a couple of weeks later, but he looked very clunky in the ring, Jeff, very clunky. Even his swanton bomb was not the same swanton bomb that he's always done. Yeah.
I think, and you could do that safely too. I think that, man, those moves are going to kill you after a while, let alone getting speared while hanging onto a ring in the middle, in the air, from a ladder. Like,
well, look at Edge. It took him out for how long? You know what I mean?
Edge still looks fantastic. Edge is, I talked with my brother the other day. He listens to us, so shout out Nicky. He
Yeah,
goes,
Nicky.
and I said, I'm like, that's one guy I wish he's on my bucket list to actually interview.
Yeah.
I said, he's one of the best I'll ever see.
Yeah.
And he was always a fan of his. And not that I wasn't, but my brother was always a fan. He loved him with everything. And he said, what made you get around to that? I said, big match feel. I said, and the guy just knows how to lay everything out, starts slow, revs it up. I mean, look at Hell in a Cell from Seth this year.
Brilliant match.
15 years after this match.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal, dude.
Awesome.
Phenomenal.
Right, guys. Well, we're going to drop it there then for Armageddon. What would you rate it out of 5 for the pay-per-view?
Out of 5? Can we do out of 10?
Go on.
All right, I'll give it a 5.
Would you?
6. I'll go with 6. You know why? I'll go with 6 because first off, we didn't talk about it. But Santino Marella intervened with a party because they were talking about the Slammies. And then the Boogeyman came out and scared everybody away. And Goldust came in and gave Boogeyman a Christmas present. And Boogeyman said, Merry Christmas, and gave him a present. So that was fun. You had that fun interaction that wrestling doesn't really have too much now.
No.
But Batista Orton was nice. Punk and Ray Mysterio was great.
Yeah.
In this triple threat match, you know what? I'll give it a 7.
Yeah,
because I'm looking back.
I'd give it a 7 just based on them 3 Pacific matches.
Yeah,
I'd say they deserve it based on that.
Yeah, I think that because I wasn't the Cena and Jericho match was good, but you know what? There's more history involved with guys like Hardy and Triple H, and this was Hardy's first major title. He wouldn't be long for the company after that, but no. The enigma started there.
It really did. Well, on that note then, guys, thanks for watching and thanks for all your support. Obviously, we're getting a lot more viewers now. We're getting people who are watching all the way through. As me and Dale say, we don't do this for views. We put it out there because we want to share our contact with you. And also, we want people to get interactive with us as well. But this is, me and Dale do this because it's fun for us. We chat with each other, and this is what all wrestling should be about. So make sure that you do hit the like and subscribe button as well if you want to carry on watching us. Get some more videos. I say we'll be churning out the videos as we always do. And if there's anything that you'd like to see us do as well, let us know. Let us know in the comment section. Let us know what you want to watch us do next. And, we'll start putting, once we start getting a bit more viewership and stuff, we'll start putting some polls out there and stuff like that. So, but anyway, as always, thanks for the support and we'll see you again next time. Dale. Yes, my man.
Peace out, guys.